Well, we met in 99. I think it was the beginning of 99. And David will correct me. I'm pretty sure it was at a friend's birthday or something.
So it was at a pub in London,
It was in a
actually.
dingy pub in London.
Yeah.
It was. And we had a mutual friend that was celebrating a birthday. And so we've never met before. And we saw each other from across the room. Our eyes met. There you go. So, and that was that.
So Wendy was not a Catholic, and I was very lapsed in my faith. In fact, I was living quite a pagan lifestyle, really.
I wasn't. So I was hardly Christian, I suppose, at that stage. I have a twin sister, and she and I were just starting to investigate faith, God, who Jesus was, and we started exploring different churches at around that time. So yes, I was, definitely far from the church.
So probably the first sort of year of our relationship was anything but Catholic, really. And then I had a big conversion experience. We went on a trip with some friends down to South Africa for the millennium, around 2000, the start of 2000. I had a big conversion down there. Just woke up one morning, said, I can't keep living like this. And I said, when I get back to London, I'm going to start going to Mass. And I said, you're welcome to join me if you'd like to. So I think Wendy was a bit bemused by what was going on, but when we got back to London, I'd also said to God I couldn't just keep living kind of like I was, in terms of I'd done the Catholic thing before, but not really fully. I'd even been to the seminary, and I just said it had to be different. It had to be different. So I asked God for a course for Wendy, actually, and we were walking out of the cathedral about the second Sunday back, and I saw this pamphlet in the seats at the back of the cathedral, and I thought, that's my course, and it just said room for God in your life. And so we started an Alpha course. That was in the charismatic phase, or that sort of began a charismatic phase in our life, which we've since sort of moved away from, really. But that was instrumental in us kind of in bringing Wendy into the church, and also for myself getting back into my faith fully.
Did your mum send us something about Alpha as well? I think she might have mentioned something, a course that we could go on. So it was quite strange the way things all lined up. The fact that we were both searching for something at the same time, and that was really significant for me, because that was what led me into faith.
No, it was a definite commitment from then, and also through that group that we got introduced to kind of a Catholic community in a much wider sense than the parish, and so we still keep in touch with people like Brother John Bosco, who was, in those days, Simon Mills, the music teacher, and we've just maintained some of those friendships, which have been so powerful in terms of, just grounding us within the Catholic community really fully, and then growing from there. For an increase in faith, hope and charity, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Oh, I just loved our wedding day. I just absolutely loved it.
That was good.
It was a great day. My only regret is I can't believe I did this. In my speech, I didn't thank God. I remember thinking afterwards, but it was fabulous. It was meant to rain. But it turned into a lovely sunny day in London.
That's great. And we had family. Some of my family from South Africa, David's family from New Zealand. So it was friends who were faith, friends and family who were not. So it was a great mix, and everyone just really enjoyed the day. It was such a blessing as well. And then, to seal it under the sacrament of marriage, and to we're united, never depart.
Yeah.
So
no, it was good actually. Great day.
So it makes me think that when we first got together, one thing you said was, I've realized very quickly you can't be selfish in a marriage. You can't be selfish in a family because it does really call something out of you. It does demand.
I think, yeah, it's very true actually, because the first year of marriage I found excruciatingly hard. In fact, if I'm really honest, I thought this is too hard. This is really too hard. And a lot of it came down to just, yeah, I guess I was quite an independent person, and yeah, giving just in those little ways, and also very, I think a lot about things, and I found that the differences between the way that especially men and women think, I found that hard. But yeah, there is a beauty in working through that. And Father Alan Fudge, who I've quoted a few times, he used to say, marriage is the perfect preparation for heaven, because you're purified all the time by that constant kind of interaction, and you don't get your own way. There's no sort of, if you live like that within a marriage, it just doesn't work really, and people become isolated very quickly, I think. But like the way I think things are going within the world, marriage is such a not forgotten about, because it's almost been taken over by various aspects of our society, and it's assumed to be kind of whatever you want it to be, really. I think, it's beautiful that the Catholic Church would seek to, highlight it as something different to what the world considers it to be. Wendy and I have a faithful prayer life. We're probably not very good at praying together, but we have a strong individual prayer life. So we're both up, early in the morning to pray. It was something that certainly I garnished from my time coming back to faith, 20 odd years ago. But I think we're both faithful with that. So the day starts with prayer. We're particularly keen that our children grow up with good faith, and when we got married, the priest who married us, Father Alan Fudge, he was an amazing preacher, but he also he used to say things like, if your children don't see you praying, they won't pray. You can talk about that. They must see you praying. And we make sure that the children pray in the morning. They have to pray independently. They have various things that we call it the morning offering. They have to start the day with prayer. Do they do it every single day? Probably not every single day, but most, the vast majority of days would start with prayer, and they're quite good at it. They understand the importance of it. We talk a lot about faith in the family. We try to sort of ensure that we screen out things that don't particularly build up their faith in terms of books, films. We don't have a TV, that sort of thing, really.
Yeah, and the lives of the saints as well. So just to be able to, David's really good at introducing, the saint of the day, and just learning about the saints as well, and how they support us, and how we can ask their intercession. So encouraging the children to do that as well.
Yeah, I had a saint book when I was a child, and I just was fascinated by their stories. But various. Wendy reads some amazing stories to the children from a book called The Glories of Mary.
St. Alphonsus Liguori.
Which are just extraordinary stories. So people like that, I don't know, they're young, obviously, we talk to the kids about, we went to see St. Carlo Acutis when we were in Italy recently, and, talk to the children about the saints. But I love reading in the Universalis each day, the saint of the day, just to see who it is today, and then asking for their intercession that day for our family.
So we have a particular devotion as well to Saint Padre Pio. So just placing ourselves under the protection of Saint Pio. So just that's right. Saint Monica.
We saw him when we were in Italy as well. I think the saints are, I was really kind of completely re-catechized in my faith really by listening to Father Alan Fudge at Ogle Street just talking about the saints so much. And he used to say, you know, theology is like pure maths and the saints are like applied maths, you know, in theological terms. And I love that kind of view, you know, that you see what you almost think is impossible, you know, you see as possible in the lives of the saints. And I just find it so inspiring, you know, their lives. So yeah, really beautiful. And reading the stories to the children and just, you know, having them see the amazing action of God in the life of what would be a normal person, you know, otherwise. Yeah, really beautiful.
Yeah, we always make sure that we include the rosary every day, and then just thinking about confession. We get confession every month, so we get to the first Saturdays.
First Saturdays, we try and live out the first Saturdays each month. So we're getting to confession at least once a month. Wendy and I try and get there more, but for the children at least once a month, and doing, you know, the first Saturday devotion, which just seems, you know, such a powerful thing to be doing. Yeah, just trying to get the children to own their faith. I think when I got married, certainly Father Alan Fudge said to me, you've got one job and that's to get your wife to heaven. But when the children came along, I realised that I had, you know, that was my primary job. Was to get my kids and my wife to heaven, yeah. So it's just trying to do that in everyday life, I suppose, yeah.
How do we make time? We don't make enough time for each other, to be fair.
We're probably not very good. We went out for, well, my brother was over there recently, we went out for dinner for the first time
Actually, we'd also, for the first time, gone on a marriage retreat, which was so fruitful. It was really good, actually, and yeah, we had friends looking after the children, and we had a weekend just to focus on our marriage and where we were at, and areas for growth, I suppose. So it was an amazing time, actually, just to feel that we were just dedicating time to each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, what God wanted to bring out in our relationship. And then a few days later, we had the opportunity to go out for dinner, which is lovely. We hardly ever do that, but otherwise, just trying occasionally to have date nights at home. So yeah, just when the kids are off into bed, just being able to just put some time aside, have a nice meal together, sit down and chat about what's been going on in our lives, or the children's lives, or where we're at with things. So yeah, just trying to touch base, because I feel like life is really busy.
It is busy, yeah.
And it's so easy just to be living parallel lives, and then every now and then just to come together and
You know, I always think, this is perhaps very disconnect, but I always just think we will be judged individually. You know, we have to, within marriage, you know, we have to sort of retain the sense of the self and how you're doing as a person as well. You can't get lost within that. Even though, you know, the church considers us to be one flesh, there is, you know, it's healthy, I think, just to have that solitude as well, to make sure that it's not just about us, it's making sure there's God is at the centre of that, and through solitude, through, you know, that quiet time, you know, whether it's reading a book or having some adoration or whatever, it's really important.
I think so. I think also that just for me anyway, just that sense of the day's really busy, and you're not so much mum but the teacher or home editor, I suppose, and then moving straight from that into mum, from the afternoon into the evening. So sometimes just thinking, I just want to be Wendy for a moment and just indulge in a bit of bit of me time, but
Wendy is an amazing reader, so it's just this just devouring of great Catholic literature, and so she, whereas I'm a bit of a lazy reader at the moment, but I think she just really, enjoys that reading time, and it's really, I think it's really valuable because we talk about what she reads and that sort of thing as well. We've definitely had our shares, or a share of, like, for example, the one that I can probably think about in terms of the faith aspect, like I alluded to it earlier, I just found the first year of marriage so hard that I'm sharing quite a bit here, but I'd actually thought, I was working in London at the time, maybe I should just get a bed sit and just move out. Maybe that would be just better for both of us, And I remember kind of having this whole idea in my head and just thinking, okay, this is that the idea of Catholic marriage is that I'm in it, and Father Allen also used to say, you might get married for all the wrong reasons, but you can stay married for all the right reasons, right? And I remember just thinking, if I went off and did that, that would be wrong. And how do I know it's wrong? Because I'm part of a church that tells me it's wrong. End of story. So that's it, right? The church is right, so I need to just crack on and do it. And that was incredibly helpful for me. It wasn't easy, and like I say, but I don't know if you've had.
I think I had that was a really, really difficult time, and I think, in a sense, probably for both of us, thinking, well, this would be the easy choice, and maybe the choice that we would like, because life is really difficult. But thinking, actually, I'm just thinking about myself in this, and I'm, what is the word? I don't know, not greedy, what is it? Maybe it's my pride, really. Marriage is not all about me, no. Marriage is about my husband. Marriage is about my children. Marriage is about how God brings fruit, and helps us to be fruitful in this. And if we put ourselves as the center of everything, things aren't going to go very well. So it was really, really reassuring. I don't know about for you, but it was reassuring in the mess and the challenge to say, we are married, and we're going to stay married, and we're going to work through this.
Yeah.
And also, after that, I just thought, wow, I feel like we've done the difficult time at the beginning. For some, they have a difficult time later on, and ours was definitely at the beginning, but it really solidified things and helped us to put things in perspective, really, and start to value each other more than we probably did before that.
And I think anything subsequent to that, and there have been some, there's been some challenging times since then, and I think the big thing that I've, definitely feel has really been just super important for us is forgiveness. And I think Wendy's probably better at leading on that. Sometimes I can sit there and think, I'm right. I don't have to. Why should I? But Wendy's very good. And plus the thing that really, a bit like the praying, I think I realised, a while ago that it's really important for your children to see you forgive each other. Not that it's, it has to be theatre in front of them, but just that even when you're still feeling a bit resentful or a bit, to just say, I'm sorry, and to, so that they can see that life is not, a box of birds. It's not like us just getting on famously well all the time, but there are these moments when we actually do, have some pretty full-on arguments, and as we have had at times, and then we can actually just forgive each other, and we can move forward, and they can witness to that, so that there is, so that when, please God, when it's their turn to be an adult, they can, whatever situation they find them, they can realise that those sort of things just don't have to result in a complete meltdown and a separation of whatever relationship that is. I think Catholics just have we just have such a different idea of marriage than anyone else, primarily because of the whole openness to life. It just changes everything. It means that there's sacrifice at the centre of your marriage right from the word go, right? We know, I certainly got married a bit later. I was in my 40s when I got married, but we know a lot of, big Catholic families, and they would have a level of sacrifice that exceeds what we experience, I believe. And there's something unique about Catholic marriage. So I would definitely say that. I would say when you make that commitment, you don't consider anything else. You just consider that you're together forever. That's it.
Yeah, but also, like, we would talk to the children about discernment as well.
Yeah.
And not feeling that they need to, they're younger anyway, but just not rushing decisions as well, and waiting on God, and actually what am I called to, and not, I don't know, following the ways of the world, I suppose. Just being able to pursue something with open hands and see what God's got for them. Yeah.
And also, I would say to couples, you need to be praying. You need to be praying. And I always say, if you're not praying, you don't have a clue what God's going to ask you to do, right? Because how would you know? If we truly believe, as John Henry Newman says, we are on earth to do a special task, or something that no one else is being asked to do. We don't know unless we're praying, right? So it guides us in life, and so, I would say that couples need to be praying to have an idea about whether they're supposed to be getting married or who they're supposed to be getting married to. But then, I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube, a lot of good Catholic teaching. There's so much. I just think we live in a time where there's so much rubbish on the internet, but we have access to the most amazing teaching that my parents never had access to, which I kind of learn. I love learning and being open and learning about our faith and the guidance that God avails to us. So my advice to anyone would be, to learn, have an openness to learning, but be aware of where you're learning from. Don't learn from the world. Learn from the church. Yeah.
The sacraments as well, really important for us as a family, to be praying together, to be able to get to Mass together. We go to Mass quite regularly through the week with the children. David's sometimes at work, sometimes at home working. Just really just sharing in the wealth of the church together as a family. And so...
And also having battles, I would disagree with a lot of, there's some really good Catholic psychologists, but a lot of, it's have those battles with your children. You've got to have those battles because, God puts us in a role as parents for a reason, right? There's a big movement in the world for children to sort of, be seen as the ones who have the ideas and the new way of being, and it's very false. It's, God doesn't, put in front of us that sort of template. He gives us as parents the role and the authority, and we are talking about the natural order within a family, and the authority given to parents to, instruct children. And in the Catechism, it says it's hard to imagine anyone else being put in that place of the parent. And so, take that authority. Don't care what the world tells you about, but use it gently, use that authority gently. Hopes for our family. Yeah, hopes for our family. So each day in prayer, the hope that I have, it comes back to what this whole idea of, that Father Alan gave me at the start, my job is to get my children to heaven. And I always say, if I do that, my life has been a success. My marriage has been a success. So that's a constant kind of hope for our family, that we'll be in heaven. Other hopes are that, we have a lot of lapsed, extended family who we love very much, and we would like them to be in heaven. So we pray, we sacrifice, that's what we do first Saturdays. We fast, Wendy and I fast. And just, offer other little sacrifices, hopefully to get those people there. But for our family, I think it's kind of like happiness and joy in the true sense of the word, really, for the children.
Yeah.
Like, I do pray for vocations to come from our family. I would love that, but it's about preparing your children as best you can to be servants of God, but then letting their free will and the freedom that God gives them to sort of work with them on their vocational choice.
I think also just a hope for our children, knowing that they'll grow up and they'll go out into the world and they'll be pulled, in so many different directions, and just for them to be rooted in who they are, the person that God's made them to be, and to know that they're loved, and that they're precious.
Yeah.
And that they'll hold on to that, because I think there's a lot of despair in the world at the moment, and for them to be rooted in that.
Yeah.
And
the other thing is just, I often pray that my children don't get drawn off course, that they have a great strength of character, and that we, as parents, that we can somehow instill that in them. So that, those are the real kind of hopes, really, for our children. Yeah.